Some years ago, I was sitting down with a parent of a college-bound high school student, and I asked that parent, what do you wish for your children? And his answer was, well, ultimately, I don't think we can plan out the future, but I just want them to be happy and well equipped for life. And since you asked, I'd also like them to get a great college education, maybe go to Stanford or Harvard or Yale. Go to graduate school, maybe MIT for engineering or UCLA for medical school or UPenn for business. I just want them to become, well-respected professionals in their field, maybe a doctor or an executive or, a judge or something. I want them to meet the love of their life, finally get married and enjoy what that is like. Have beautiful children, see what that's like. And of course, me and my wife will be retired, so we'll have time to help raise the grandkids and, turn them into great people that are well equipped for life as well. And I said, um, okay, coming right up. Anything else you need? Do you have a family that has do you have a similar vision for your family? And how do you have, more than one child going to college or maybe just one? Well, here's what you need to know if that's your vision. I don't know if you remember, but there's a time when gas cost a dollar, $1.09. Maybe when you were in high school, it cost less than that, and it doesn't cost that anymore. And why is that? Well, it's called the concept of inflation, which inflation measures how much more expensive things get as time goes on, right? Well, if the red line is the inflation level for all things over the past 35 years, all goods, the green line is the line for college inflation, which is how much more expensive college has gotten over the past 35 years. In fact, the price of college has gone up twice as fast as everything else because it inflates at 7 to 8% per year. And I'm a finance person, so let me give you a little finance tip. Quick finance math says that if a number grows at 7%, it doubles every 10 years. So now where are we? How much does college cost these days? Well, here we have a private university like USC, we have a UC like UC Berkeley, we have a Cal State like Cal Poly, and we have University of Washington. Anybody want to take a guess? Okay, well, if you guess 248,000 or 62 per year, that's USC. If you guess 133,000 for UC Berkeley, that's 33,000 per year. If you guess 97,000 for Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, or 24,000 per year. And if you guess 186,000 for University of Washington, or 46 per year, then you're correct. So that begs the question is, how are parents paying for college these days? How are they doing this? Well, the first place that parents go is they go to their college savings accounts, their 529s, UGMAs, UTMAs, and things like that. Recent studies have shown that the average amount of money saved in a 529 plan is $17,000 as of 2012. And we were just talking about the college numbers that we were talking about, so you can see how $17,000 stacks up against the cost of the education that we're talking about. So if the family doesn't have the college savings accounts to cover the costs, many families will go and they'll use their life savings to pay for college. Here we have a family that has $17,000 in college savings, $576,000 in retirement, and $75,000 emergency savings account. They're sending their kids to their one child to University of Washington, which costs $186,000. Many of them are liquidating these accounts to pay for college, and in this case, the family's liquidated, a lot of their savings, not most, almost all of their non-retirement savings, and they're still $93,000 short. Well, if they don't have the savings, many parents will go to the installment plan, just like in private school, they'll pay a 10-month installment plan. And you can see very quickly with the numbers that we're talking about, to do a 10-month installment for one child is $4,600 a month. Anybody got an extra $4,600 a month to do 10-month installments at University of Washington? Some people do. The issue is that because the parent isn't planning properly, if they have more than one child going to college at the same time, now they're looking at $9,300 per month to send two children to a school like University of Washington. That's well over $100,000 per year being paid out on tuition. So the family doesn't have the cash flow to pay $4,600 or $9,300 per month. They'll go to loans. Just take a look at the loans for one child. Let's keep it for one child. That's $186,000 in debt, but you don't get all the debt all at the same time. The loan is 10 years. You pay the loan back for 10 years. The interest rate is 6.41%. The origination fee is 4%. You can only take out the loan 1 year at a time. So let's see what that looks like for University of Washington. Freshman year, the parent takes out $46,000. That's $549 per month for 10 years. Second year, $93,000, $1,098 for 10 years. Third year, $139, $1,600 for 10 years. Third year, $186, $2,198 per month for 10 years. After 6 years after the child has graduated University of Washington, the parents are still making payments of $2,198 per month just to send one child to college. $2,198 per month. I'm willing to bet that if I'm in a room full of 100 people, that a little over the half of the people in the room, that's higher than their mortgage. And you see, if we're talking 6 years after your child has graduated college, the family needs to be in a position where they're saving $2,198, not paying $2,198 back in debt. So by the time they've paid all that money back, they've paid back $263,000 for a $186,000 education. That's $77,000 in interest that they've given to the banks. A lot of parents ask me, why don't the students take out the loans? And the reason why is because the student loan interest rates are even higher. So it's just more interest, more money paid back. There's a little comic that says, move back home? Kids today are so lazy and irresponsible. Your mother and I started out with nothing. And you got this guy with a big saddle of 5-figure student loan debt. He says, trust me, I would have loved starting out with nothing. Not too long ago, I was just like this. Just like you. My mother was an English teacher, and my father was a history teacher. I had a younger brother who was also college bound. Played football and ran track because I thought that's how I was going to get my education paid for. But it turned out that because I wasn't a D1 player, I couldn't command the amount of money necessary to pay these kinds of numbers down. I had a 2-point GPA because I focused on athletics, and my SAT score was a 1720. I was looking at college expenses. I couldn't see how my parents could pay for this without borrowing the money, and I really did not want to put them in that situation, especially because I had a younger brother going to college as well. So I went to my counselors and my teachers, and their advice was go to community college. It's cheaper. Your SAT scores really are too low to get any kinds of scholarship or get admitted to any top colleges, and that really nearly crushed my ambition of going through and trying to make this happen for myself. I wanted to go to a top private university. Anybody guess what this is? This is Boston University. At the time, it cost $200,000 per year. It's about $250 now. What did I do? Well, I quit the football team and the track team. I spent hours in libraries and coffee shops focusing on my grades, SAT scores, and finding out what colleges were willing to pay for and what they wanted to see. And I just begged admissions officers and financial aid officers by calling, writing letters, emailing, going in there, and just trying to see if there's anything they could say that could be helpful. What I learned paid off big time. I got a 4-year financial award valued at $178,000. $165,000 of it was free money I didn't have to pay back. I was the only non-athlete at my high school to get over $100,000 in scholarships and grants. Despite having a 2.8 GPA and planning last minute, I still made it through. Cost my parents $20,000 out of pocket to send me to Boston University, and most parents paid 10 times that much money to get that same education. So I graduated business school, majored in accounting. My first job was to be a college planner for a financial planning firm. And my job description was help these clients save money on college expenses so they don't have to liquidate their savings and investments. Make sure that they don't spend that much money on college. Well, it didn't matter after a while. After a while, I just worked with just so many different people, seen so many different situations: high income, low income, high net worth, unemployed, divorced, college professors, finance executives, attorneys, and I was really able to save all these parents quite a lot of money. So I started to get a reputation for myself. We were looking at colleges, some of the top colleges in the country, and we were getting significant price reductions because we were getting a lot of free money, grants, and scholarships. These are actual results from these schools. So I started College Funding Remedies, which maximizes your grants and scholarships, negotiates with financial aid offices to increase your awards, and draft plans so that you can pay for college without getting buried in debt, spending your life savings, sacrificing your current lifestyle, or just going plain broke. So I want to teach you guys something that I use in order to save parents a lot of money. It's not the only thing that I use, but it's one of the things that I use. So, here's a concept for you. One is called cost of attendance. Cost of attendance is the yearly cost to attend a university. It includes tuition, room and board, living expenses, books, travel. So cost of attendance is a per year number. So if we go back to the numbers here, I'm talking about the numbers in the parentheses here. So let's pick, University of Washington, $46,000. Not the most expensive, not the cheapest either. See what's going on here. Well, when you fill out a financial aid form, this is a FAFSA. What this financial aid form is just a calculator that determines what your expected family contribution is. You fill this out, and it spits out a number as to how much you can pay for college. So you fill out this form, calculates how much you're expected to pay per year per college. That's called your expected family contribution. You file this every year like your taxes. There's 74 factors that affect your EFC. It's 130 questions approximately, but the top 6 things that they're looking at are parents' income, parents' net worth, students' income, student net worth, household size, number of students in college. So let's do a little case study here. Let's take a parent making $300,000 per year. And first, I use this income here. One, because a lot of parents are under the impression that someone who makes $300,000 per year is not going to get any aid, and that's just simply false. But the second reason why I use that number is because if I'm using $300,000 and we're able to save money, you can assume that if I'm using $200,000 or $100,000 that we're just going to save more money. It's just going to be easier. Family has $1 million in net worth, a house, retirement accounts, some money markets. Students don't work. Student doesn't work, doesn't have any assets. 5 people are in the house, 2 people going to college. Let's see what happens when we fill out a form. Well, their ESC, when they fill this out, it computes they can pay $39,000 per year, or $40,000. So what can we do with this? Well, here's the magic formula. Whatever the school costs per year, minus your expected family contribution, your EFC, equals your financial need or your eligibility for aid. And the question is what college will meet your financial need, your eligibility for aid? What colleges will meet this number? So let's plug it in. We got a college of $62,000. Our EFC is $39,000. That means we're eligible for $22,000. That's our financial need. And the question is what colleges will give the $22,000 to us? And what colleges won't give us any at all? So that was a hypothetical I just showed you, but I went through my client files, found a similar situation. We have a husband and wife that are both accountants. Their income is together is $276,000. Their net worth is $800,000, and their EFC is $29,000. We selected Pepperdine as a school that would give them, reduction off the cost of going to college. What happened is, this is their grants. They ended up getting $21,896 per year in free money. That's 37% off, or $87,000 that they've saved on college expenses. So with a $276,000 income, this is how much they got. And we create these stories, over and over and over, just different top colleges. These are actual results, as I said before. And to just end the story that I showed you before, the parent that had this dream of all their kids getting such a great education and so forth. Well, this is the report back from his first child who got $47,000 to attend Johns Hopkins University. And if you know Johns Hopkins, that's one of the top colleges in the country, especially for any kind of science-related or medical-related field. You guys learned something so far? Okay.